You ever look at a city and feel like something's missing? Not something small, something fundamental. Like the story you were told doesn't match what you're seeing. That's how I've always felt about Los Angeles. They say this place started as a tiny pueblo. 44 settlers, a handful of huts, dirt roads, nothing else. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, domes, streetcars, stone hotels, Victorian mansions, brick theaters. It's almost like the city didn't grow, it appeared. And when I look at these old photographs, at these buildings that shouldn't exist, I can't help but ask, did we really build this? Or did we inherit a city we weren't supposed to remember? All right, let's talk about it. Los Angeles, founded in 1781 by 44 settlers, Los Pobladores. That's the official story. By 1850, census records show 1,610 people. By 1870, about 5,700. A village, barely a town, wood homes, dust streets, minimal trade, almost no heavy industry. So explain this to me. Why do the earliest surviving photos of LA show structures way beyond what a 5,000-person village could ever build? Stone hotels, brick theaters, street grids, symmetrical blocks, and multi-story buildings that look eerily similar to eastern cities with 3 times the population. It doesn't add up. And when something doesn't add up, you don't ignore it, you dig. Let's look at the pictures. Because pictures don't lie. Stories do. We have photographs of Los Angeles from the 1860s, a time when the city had fewer people than a modern Costco on a weekend. But the photos, they show a place that looks finished. Chinatown already built, the plaza surrounded by stone structures, horse car lines installed, sidewalks, decorative facades, European proportions, and something even stranger, buildings that appear in the photographs, but have almost no recorded construction history. It's like they were already there and someone simply claimed them later. That's not how frontier towns grow. That's how inheritance works. If you build a city, you leave evidence. Blueprints, contracts, construction photos, newspapers bragging about every brick laid. But Los Angeles? Nothing. Merced Theater, 1870. Almost no construction photos. Old City Hall? Same story. LA County Courthouse, 1888. Barely any images of the build, just perfect finished postcards. Even the Bradbury Building, the famous one, has 1 or 2 grainy photos of scaffolding. For a project that should have required dozens, and the people credited with these designs, half of them barely have documented careers. It feels like the builders didn't leave a legacy because maybe they weren't the ones who built it. Here's my favorite contradiction. The architecture we see from 1870 to 1900 in LA. Massive stone blocks, cast iron, heavy materials, thousands of tons of earth. But here's the problem. Trucks didn't exist. The first truck? 1896. Commercial trucks in America? 1904 to 1910. Steam cranes? Rare before 1900. Gas engines? Barely entering industrial use. So how do you move 10-ton stone blocks without trucks, cranes, or heavy machinery? By hand? With horses? Come on. You're telling me a village of 5,000 people moved industrial-scale material without industrial-scale tools? That's not a construction timeline. That's a miracle. And history doesn't run on miracles. Let's talk about the bird's-eye view maps from the 1880s to 1890s. You've seen them, perfectly drawn cities from above, long before aerial photography existed. Officially, they were illustrations, marketing pieces, real estate art. But when you look closely, they show street grids, sewer layouts, rail connections, full neighborhoods. all before many of those things existed. It feels less like the artists predicted the future and more like they were copying something already complete, almost like the map came first, then the story, then the explanation. Let's compare effort versus population. In 1870, LA has 5,700 residents. That's a modern high school, but somehow this high school population manages to produce Pico House, 1870, 3 floors, luxury hotel, Merced Theatre, ornate stonework, old courthouse, Romanesque revival, dozens of multi-story brick blocks, and again, no documented workforce, no known architects with verified portfolios, no supply chain. Do you realize the scale of labor needed just to make one of these buildings? Stone cutting, iron casting brick, firing foundation engineering, ornamentation, window framing, roof carpentry. You don't get that from a town the size of a Costco. Something, or someone, is missing from the official story. This is where things get interesting. As you go through LA's architectural history, you start noticing a pattern. Most major buildings weren't built, they were remodeled. Facade updates, interior guttings, refronting projects. Modernizations, almost like the shell was already there and new settlers simply changed the skin. Even Venice, California, officially built in 1905, shows foundation patterns that existed earlier. It's like the city wasn't constructed. It was repurposed, inherited, claimed, rebranded. And the original authors? Silent. In American property law of the 1800s, you cannot sell land unless it appears on a map. So what happens? Developers start drawing maps, fast. Some maps are accurate, some are aspirational, some are complete fabrications. And once the map exists, the history gets written to support the map, not the other way around, which means if there were old structures already standing, all someone had to do was draw a new map around them, rename them, claim them. Easy. Paper overwrites stone. So here's where we land. I'm not telling you who built this city. I'm not telling you it was ancient, or advanced, or erased. I'm telling you this. The official story is too clean, too simple, too convenient. A tiny village doesn't make a metropolis overnight. A handful of settlers don't carve European stone architecture. A city without machines doesn't move industrial materials. Somebody built early Los Angeles. But the fingerprints, the photos, the blueprints, the names, they're gone. Or maybe they were never meant to stay. And the truth? It isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, it just sits there, quietly, in the foundations beneath our feet, waiting for someone to notice. I love you all. God bless. See you in the next one.